Good evening.
Good evening.
Wish you all of you a very happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I think let us all join together and say Happy New Year to please.
Happy New Year.
Yes. So it's a great honor for me to be doing the Sergeant at Arms today, as it is our first meeting for 2013. Toastmasters, friends and guests, I wish all of you a prosperous New Year and I welcome you to today's Toastmaster session. I request all of you to switch off your mobile phones and keep it in silent or vibrate mode, whatever. Time is like a flowing river. No water passes beneath your feet twice. Time just moves on. So we cannot capture time with us, it keeps moving. But what we can do capture is the wonderful moments that it gives us at times. So Toastmasters, we are all meeting together and in these sessions we are learning to develop ourselves, learning to become better communicators. So these are all good moments for us to cherish. So 2012 is gone, but in 2012 let us all cherish those moments which we learned in Toastmaster sessions. We should learn from life and move on. The new year unfolds to us new horizons and realization of our dreams. Let us all rediscover our new strengths, garner faith, and let us be able to rejoice in simple pleasures that life has to offer and put up a wave front for challenges that come in our way. Let New Year be filled with fragrance of roses for all of us and be illuminated with light to the world and be blessed with smiles of all over the planet. Let us join hands in wishing that we all have a wonderful January, a lovely February, a peaceful March, a stress-free April, a fun-filled May, a joy that lasts from June to November, and finally a happy December. On this new year, let us all change our directions and not the dates, our commitments and not the calendar. Let us change our attitudes. Let us bring about a change in our faith, our force and focus. Let us not just be focused on the fruit. Let us all live up to the promises we have made and let the new year bring us new resolutions. As Toastmasters, let us all take resolutions, not resolutions which we break, resolutions by which we will complete our projects, especially I would also take to myself, our projects as quickly as possible, bring in more guests to these sessions and make all of us, by participating in Toastmasters, a better person, better me, a better myself. Now I request Madam Toastmaster, Milani. She is our president. She is a BSc in electronics. She is an ardent lover of art and dance. She has completed the entire CC manual in a record time and she has now started the advanced communication manual. Now I request her to come and take over the lectern and address us.
Happy New Year to all the Toastmasters and the guests. Now I declare meeting number 662 open. Can I have the secretary?
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Last week was meeting number 661. Sergeant of Arms was Apu, President Ms. Vijayalakshmi, the MC Mr. Anand, the G. Shikal, the table topic master Kanusha, the art counter was Apu, grammarian Santosh, Mr. Santosh, timer Minalini, listener Priyanka, and from the projects we had speaker number 1 Mr. Ganesh, he did his ACB2 and his valuable was Mr. Priyadarshi. Speaker 2 was Mr. Ramesh, did his ACB3 project evaluated by Mr. Santosh, and sorry, I just forgot to say. The best speaker went to Mr. Ganesh, best evaluator to Mr. Santosh, best listener Apeksha, and best table topic speaker to Ms. Priyanka.
Thank you, Kanisha. As I open this meeting for the new year, I am faced with the same problem that a king once faced. A spiritual teacher once went to the doorstep of his king, the gates of his palace. None of the guards stopped him, and he went straight to where the king was sitting on his throne. Immediately recognizing him, the king got down and he bowed to him and said, "What can I do for you?" The teacher said, smiling, "Can you give me a place here in this inn?" The king was taken aback. "This is not an inn. I'll give you a place, but this is not an inn. It's my palace." So the teacher says, Who lived here before you?" "My father. He's dead now." "And before him?" "My grandfather. He too is dead." Said the spiritual teacher. "So this is a place where people come for a short period of time and then they move on. And did I hear you say that this is not an inn?" The spiritual teacher was actually trying to tell the king that the ownership of the kingdom was different from the responsibility of the king. Likewise, my dear Toastmasters, like that kingdom, this club belongs to the past, the present, and the future members of Sunshine Toastmasters. However, the responsibility is entrusted to a committee, which is a new committee which forms every 6 months. This term, the committee is being headed by me. I want to thank each and every member of Sunshine Toastmasters for having placed their trust on me and my committee members. I would now like to introduce them. My wonderful committee consists of my VPE, Mr. Priyadarshi. Stand up. VPPR, Apu. Secretary, Kanisha. The Treasurer, Srinivas V. Sergeant at Arms, Saad Satya. In these 6 months, I assure you, every meeting is going to pack a punch. We are going to make our meetings interesting, entertaining, and very energetic. Our committee will do everything possible to ensure that every member progresses in their educational tracks, as well as they learn a lot during this term and have fun doing it. Our committee's effort in this term will be defined by the saying by Michael Jordan: "Earn your leadership every day." We will be earning our leadership meeting after meeting. To take us through this meeting, we have a very dynamic person. He travels a lot, and we are very lucky to have his expertise in organization because he is the new VP of Sunshine. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our new VP and the Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Priyadarshi.
It really feels very good to hear the kind comments from the elegant lady. Thank you, Madam President. You did a right tempo. It's like I was hearing my vice president, my company vice president speech, setting the expectation. So you're setting up the bar. I'm sure we live up to your expectation. Before proceeding on today's meeting, I see you have some wonderful guests. I request the guest to introduce yourself first.
Sri Krishna. I have completed my engineering in Sarangi College, and one of my friends, Tarun, recommended me to take a look into this master socially. Till the time I joined any company.
Good evening. I am Harinath Reddy, member of VG Toastmasters. I am working with Geneva Industries Whitefield and also staff until then. This is my third meeting in Sunshine. Thank you.
Good evening everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. I am Gopal. We have a company called Apurnia Technologies, which is into corporate training. And been hearing Toastmasters for long, so a good opportunity to interact with you all and look forward to it.
Good evening everybody, and we wish you a happy new year and a prosperous new year. I am Shivram. I am working in Amara Technologies, and Mr. Santosh Paul, he is my colleague, and he introduced me. Today I am going to join.
So also, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Mansur Rahman. I work as an NGO, as a manager. Thank you.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
We have a very nice mix of agenda today. For the benefit of the guest, a typical Toastmaster meeting consists of 3 parts. One is prepared speeches, where the members deliver the speeches from the CC, competent communicator and advanced communication methods. The second one is table topic sessions, where we request the members to come and give a pep talk thrown by table topic master on the random subjects. The third one is the general evaluation. General evaluator takes care of the stage. He evaluates everything with his team members, and at the end of the meeting, he gives a feedback to all of us. To take us through the general evaluation, we have a very interesting person today. He is a multifaceted personality. When we wrote down the metaphor of the day, sea of grief, the email reply came like a rapid fire. He converted sea into the waves. He converted grief into the happiness. He made it a wave of happiness. He's intelligent. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome this linguistically intelligent person, Mr. Ramesh, with a big round of applause.
The Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, as a general evaluator, my role would be to observe the meeting from the time it started today till I am called for by the Master of Ceremony to present my report. To assist me in this role of general evaluation, I have 4 Toastmasters. I have Bharatdasa, an accountant, and explain your role, please.
My duty as an accountant is to put down any R's, long pauses and short pauses which the speaker makes during his talk.
I have Toastmaster T.K. Ramesh as grammarian, that's me. The word for the day is metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech where you don't say what you want to say actually, but you give a reference to something which you can understand. Like the Master of Ceremony said, sea of grief gives you a metaphor of how much the grief was, what is the extent of grief, or the wave of happiness which you also mentioned. It's a metaphor. Even our Sergeant Tom started with the metaphor. Time is like a flowing river. It's a metaphor. So this is how metaphors can be used to make your speech more powerful. Right? And as a grammarian, I'll be noting down the good usage of language by the various speakers, and I will also note down not so good usage of grammar, and wherever possible I will suggest alternatives which will make the speech better. Right? To take the role of listener, I have Toastmaster Sam.
Good evening, everyone. My role as a listener is to listen to the speeches, everything that goes on from the beginning to the end of the meeting, and in the end ask you questions to check how carefully you listened, and ask you questions, and the person who gives the most number of answers will be given the award of best listener.
Most number of correct answers.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh and his team. As I mentioned, we have a very nice mix of agenda. We got 2 speeches from the CC NACO, we got 1 from the Encourse Committee. Before I call on the first speaker, let me invite the evaluator for the first speaker, Madam Vijayalakshmi, to brief the guidance of the project.
Good evening, everyone. The objectives are to begin speaking before an audience, to discover speaking skills you already have, and skills that needed some attention. Time 4 to 6 minutes.
4 to 6 minutes.
4 to 6
If you say about time, it's okay. So 4 to 6 minutes. 4 to 6 minutes. Most of us are really reluctant to volunteer when somebody says take up a role, especially to deliver a speech, and that also icebreaker speech. But when I approached this gentleman, very handsome person, well-built person, he volunteered himself with lot of enthusiasm. That made my day. This person has joined Sunshine Toastmasters a couple of weeks back, and he is starting his Toastmaster journey today, the first day of the new year. For us, the first day is the first meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me with a big round of applause the person who is starting a Toastmaster journey today, Mr. Srinivas Murthy.
I feel the best way to break the ice is to go whiskey over it. However, I'll attempt something for about, say, 6 minutes, which is less exciting. Good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. My name is Srinivas Murthy. I'm very excited to start a new journey, the journey of the challenging myself, and of course, growing myself. I was born brought up in a typical middle-class family. My father was a technician. Central government farm. Mom and I was wife. I have an elder brother. My parents always insisted that okay, if you want to lead a decent life, you need to study hard and do something. Because they knew the importance of education, good job, good quality life. This thought did inspire my brother. He did his engineering, did work with few companies, then finally he set up his own firm. Currently, his firm is tied up with a Spanish company which set up its own manufacturing unit. Comparatively, I was an average student. I did my 10th from TV, then joined my engineering college to pursue my PU and graduation. Unfortunately, I dropped out of college in the second year of graduation because my interest and my focus was more towards sports. I was a volleyball player. I used to represent my college and also play for my club, volleyball club located in Malaysia. My parents were very upset with my decision because they told me that this is not going to lead you anywhere in life. However, I insisted and pursued my passion, I would say passion at that time, and did nothing for the next 3 years. Just traveled with my so-called clubmates, participated in tournaments. So the next 3 years I was like wondering as to what exactly I want in life. Then one day reality struck me that it's not going to take me anywhere. So in my 10 years of career, I worked with 4 different organizations. And trust me, every organization I worked for is a learning curve.
My first job was Blue Dart Express. I joined as a delivery executive because I had not completed my graduation. I didn't get better jobs. So my job was more to do with delivery and pickup shipments, travel heavy boxes, carry heavy boxes and bags on my two-wheeler, work 11 hours a day, 6 days a week, and no appreciation at all. So I worked for 1 year, then realized that it was not the kind of job or the life which I want to lead. So I quit Blue Dart and joined Hinduja Group as a technical support executive. This was in 2003. And simultaneously, I pursued my graduation through correspondence. I worked for 2 years with STP and got promoted as a team leader as well. And because of night shifts, I had to quit STP as well. So that's when I realized that there is something in me, because I've grown as a team leader within 1 year of joining STP. There is something in me. So in 2005, I joined this company called Nokia as a specialist. This was a phase which inspired me to be what I am today. Because I felt that I just started my career and I still had a long way to go. So my aspiration, my passion, my commitment towards my growth ensured that I worked towards it. So I worked with Nokia for 5 years, during which I completed my graduation, my post-graduation, and I did few industry-specific certifications like Six Sigma, ITIL, the Lead Auditor course. In 2010, Nokia's market share was like drastically different times. So that's when they gave us a 3 months notice, a payout times that we were at the corporate job. So I joined TeamLease in Jan 2011 as Manager Operations. Recently I got promoted as Senior Manager Operations. I handled the central payoffs process with a team strength of 60 executives reporting to me, which includes managers and team leaders. Got married in 2007 to my wife called Reshma. After dating her for like 2 years, I calculated this right. So she says the same. I have a 3-year-old daughter, Charlie. So our life revolves around her to ensure that we give her the best and give her whatever we didn't get during our childhood days. Formal education, I believe, is just a key to start your career. But your survival and success depends on continuous learning, enhancing your skill set, your commitment, and your hard work. The last 10 years I've changed a lot as a person from what I was. Because I'm able to pursue my hobbies, and of course, like whatever I couldn't do when I was in college, I started doing that. I'm here to become an effective speaker and an inspiring leader. That's the reason I've joined Toastmasters Club. To learn from others, to inspire people, to influence people, and let us all work as a team, ensure that we help each other, and of course, become excellent speakers. I'll leave you with this thought: smooth roads never makes you a good driver. Problem-free life will not make you a strong person. Never say, why me? Challenge the life and say, try me.
Brilliant, very inspiring. What a takeover. Why me and why not time? What a perfect attitude she was. I'm sure Gopal is here listening to you. I'm sure one day he will take you to some training course and where you will be speaking like a motivational speaker to emphasize the importance of education. Come on, and that's a different. The way you come on was very inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give him one more big round. Before I call up the second speaker, let me invite Mr. Santosh Paul to brief the guidance of CC Bank.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
This is Project 9 from the Component Communicator Manual. The objectives of this project: persuade listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas or take some action. Appeal to the audience's interest. Use logic and emotion to support your position. Avoid using notes. Time of please note 5 to 7 minutes.
Good. Do you know the meaning of humbleness? What do you mean by modest? Forget it, simplicity. This gentleman personifies all these heavenly qualities to the man. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome this very, very loving, friendly personality, Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Priyadarshi. With such kind of introduction, my energy level is already high. Recently, I got a statement from LIC saying that my LIC policy has matured. My wife got excited and suddenly started looking at advertisements for gold and jewelry. Good evening. Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. But her excitement busted like a balloon as soon as she found out that after investing for 25 years, we are going to get easily 1 lakh. I recently read a report saying that Indians, 90% of Indians, look for security and invest in bank FDs, insurance policies, PPF, PF, and all other instruments which give guaranteed returns. But guaranteed returns are obviously low. A report said in the first week that Sensex has given 26% returns. That means the benefit of increasing economic value in Sensex has reached only 10%. Why should it reach only 10% Indians? Why can't we take the benefit of increasing value in Sensex? For that, we have to overcome our innovations. To get financial freedom, we need to invest time and money and understand difference between saving and investing. I can tell you what has worked for me. I used to always save. First, I used to spend money and whatever little was left, I used to save it in guaranteed no return investment. And tax benefit was one of the key features I used to consider. But I read a book and it said, instead of saving what is left, first invest. Decide how much money do you need for meeting your financial goals. Put that money aside, invest, and then spend whatever is left. That just order change between spending first and investing first has made a tremendous difference to my financial health. I can give you a few examples. Bank FDs give you 8 or 10%. Inflation is, I used to be in 30% tax bracket. Inflation was 8%. So basically people are losing money when they invest in bank FDs. I can give you an example. Let's assume that a person wants to invest or save money. He puts money in RD, 12,000 rupees per year in RD. For 15 years, he puts that kind of money. He will have nearly 3 lakh rupees. Let's say that person understands that if somebody invests for the long term, the risk of losing the capital is reduced, and invests the same 12,000 rupees in a equity diversified fund such as Franklin Templeton Blue Chip Fund for 15 years, the maturity value he will have is close to 8 lakh rupees. There was a recent study done that from 1979 till today, if you follow the value of Sensex, for any 15-year period, there was nobody, person who invested and stayed invested for 15 years has never lost money if he kept the money for 15 years. And the average annual returns for that investment has been close to 18%. So If you want to reduce the risk or manage the risk, stay invested for the long term. That is the concept. I can give you one more example. Let us say, actually recently on the New Year's Eve, we went to Chikmagalur. We stayed in a homestay. There, that lady sent us an email, owner of that stay that sent an email saying, you leave at 6 o'clock to beat Bangalore traffic. And if you do so, you reach our homestay at 11 o'clock. Unfortunately, we left at 7:30 a.m. and we reached there at 2 p.m. Over dinner, when we were discussing, we met other families, 4 families, and these families told us that they left at 6 o'clock and reached at 11 a.m. That's when I realized that starting early works when you are traveling from one place to another. I think and I know that it works even if you want to reach your financial goals. Let me give you an example. Take another example. Let's say a person is 25 years of age and he invests 12,000 rupees in RD for 35 years till his age of 60 years, and let's assume he gets 10% rate of interest. The amount of money he accumulates at 60 will be close to 34 lakhs. Let's say somebody else starts just 5 years later and 12 into 5 is 60,000 rupees less he is putting into this. But his corpus at the end of 60 years, with the same return, same amount of investment, everything same, but he just started 5 years later, will be just 21 lakhs. If you can notice, the difference is 21 to 34. 21 lakhs versus 34 lakhs. What has worked for the first person? The first person, there is something called the magic of compounding. Albert Einstein said, the magic of compounding is one of the 8 wonders of the world. We should make use of it. I can give you one more example. Let's say this person was very risk averse at 25 years. One more person at 25, he starts investing 12,000 rupees per year in Franklin Templeton Blue Chip Fund. Then his investment after 35 years will be worth approximately 2 crores. Let's say the second person starts 5 years later and his original investment he's investing is only again 12 into 5, 60,000 rupees less. He starts at 30 years, invests for 30 years and gets the same returns. But the maturity value of his investment will be just 1 crore. The law of nature that if you plant a seed, you should give enough time for it to grow, works for even financial instruments and investments which don't look like physical things, but we should give it time for it to grow and understand that we can reduce risk. Don't run away from the risk like somebody said, or run away from the problems. Let us learn to understand various financial products, what can we do for it, allow our investment to grow and we will benefit. And from the magic of compounding, let's give our investments time to grow. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. I wish I could have had this enlightenment when I was at the age of 25. Now I'm double at that age. I don't think it's worth investing. But the one thing I noticed that everything we look at the return on investment. The way you started the insurance, I know it was for a lot of money. Thanks for making me to revisit that importance of insurance. And thanks for making me to revisit for anything to start early. Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Before I call the third speaker, let me invite Mr. Ram Gopal, the evaluator of ACS 10 speech.
The
project guidelines are, actually it is project 3 and the title is the demonstration talk. The objectives are prepare a demonstration speech to clearly explain a process, a product or an activity. Conduct the demonstration as part of a speech delivered without notes. Time 5 to 7 minutes.
Late August 2009, I was attending a speechcraft class conducted by Sunshine Toastmasters in Punjab here. A well-built personality walked in to give a demo speak. If I remember correctly, the demo speak is of Your Body Speaks. It's almost 3.5 years. Their speech still etched in my memory. That was the impact. Maybe the speaker might have forgotten about the speech, but I remember certain sentences of that speech. It was like a monodrama. It was like a mono act. That's why the impact was there. In fact, I'm very proud to say that that impact made me to join the Sunshine Toastmasters. Whenever he comes to the club, he brings an aura of discipline. He sits at a particular seat. Whenever there is a noise, he waves his hand. Immediately the discipline. I fondly call him, maybe he may not like that, but this is a very act. Master of Sunshine Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome this past district governor, Mr. Venkat.
I was new to Toastmasters. Like some new Toastmasters, I saw the list of speakers at Bangalore Toastmasters Club. And I said, this is the day I'm going to have a lot of learning. I went to the club like a small child looking for something, a great gift to unfold for me. The speaker was an educational trainer on communication. I thought, today is my day. I'm going to get what I want. The speaker stood before us. Good evening. How are you? It's a new year. Shall we celebrate? Within 2 minutes, my euphoria came down like anything. I thought, is this the way a speaker speaks? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, do we care to prepare our speeches? The way the speaker spoke, it was like the voice going up and dropping, going up and dropping, going up and dropping. Every time the speaker started, I would know. I would put my hand like this and say, it will drop now. And it did. Exactly like a musical fountain. And this is called the fountain effect in public speaking. Even though he was a seasoned speaker, seasoned trainer, he did not care to prepare his speech. This was my first impression. I went back home, went to the pages of communication book which teaches you so many things. And there I found there are so many researches done and many have come to the conclusion that 93% of your communication or a speech is based on non-verbal communication. Only 7% is attributed to the words that you speak in your speech. Do you believe this? Yes? And that is when I thought, what is this 93%? Let me go into it. When I looked deeply into what is that 93%, the answer was 55% goes to your body language. The rest 38 goes to your voice. So how you speak is important. How you speak is much more important than what you speak. So let us look. I went to my mentor and said, what is this body language they're speaking all about? He said, body language constitutes on three things: the posture, the gestures of your hand and your face. Above all, the eye contact with your speaking audience. Now let us see what is this body language. Body language is a message that you send through your body, non-verbal communication. It's not something great that you have to learn. It is automatically in you. As a child, when you wanted milk, what did you run over? People say you cry. Okay? You cry for anything. A small child cries to get the attention and the necessary things that it wants. Slowly, as days pass on, you forget the body language. So Toastmasters, the first thing that my mentor said when you're speaking is the way you stand. Keep your leg slightly open, wide open. Your toes slightly pointed out. Upright, standing upright, not like a military man. Upright, with your hands to the side. When you want to say a point, move forward and quickly come back to the original position so that your movement is free. When your hands are on the side, it can easily move and do some gestures and come back. This is the right posture. And it helps your body movement when you have the right posture. Now let us look what is the gestures that we have. The hand gestures. In hand gestures we have three primary gestures. Suggestive gesture. When I say, Ram Gopal, please sit down. Please stand up. Keep quiet. These are the suggestive gestures. Emphatic gesture. When I say, please bring it here. They're suggestive but emphatic. Sit down. Stand up. It's very emphatic. I demand an explanation. The third gesture. What is it? My mentor asked me. I was just quiet for some time. Then he said, I'll tell you later on. Now let us move on to the eye contact. When you are speaking to an audience, if you avoid or look to the wall, they will understand. And sometimes some use the technique of not looking into the eye, but looking at the nose. People will understand. They're not looking at that. Now quickly let us move on to the other gesture. When you stand quiet, you get all the attention you need. At times, stand quiet so you get the attention. So Toastmasters, when you do not know what to do with your hand, it's all good that you place it on your mouth so that no nonsense comes out of you. Your voice follows your body language. When you do something, the voice also rises. So better watch your body language so that your speech comes out better. Think of this 55% when you prepare your speech. You prepare it as if you care for each one of you. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Third gesture, what we said. Draw your attention, keep Thanks, Mr. Venkat, for that enlightenment. What an apt speech to start the year. Though it is a part of the ACS speech, it was like educated us. And really brought the three aspects. When we missed, I did this time, Mr. Venkat, I should have sat. There was only mistake I did, basically, because I could not really watch you, the way you delivered, the way you told about body postures and the gestures. Thank you, Mr. Venkat, for that enlightenment. Before we get into the next session, thanks to our senior Toastmaster, Mr. Vinod, we have one guest here. I request the guest to talk about himself or whatever, because I do not want to take anything from him. But briefly for 5 minutes before we break for the tea. I do not know this gentleman, Mr. Vinod said, because when Vinod says there is something waiting, so there is no point in asking who is this person coming in. So let us welcome Mr. Monson to briefly talk to us.
Actually, it's about the organization which changed my life. So when I was around 4 years, I had a fever, and I was a normal baby when I was born. And my uncle took to a, I'm so sorry. Little louder. Alright. So my uncle took to a doctor, and the doctor gave me an injection, and he also suggested to give the same, and he handed over another injection, and he suggested to give this if the fever doesn't come down. And obviously it did not go down, so the injection was given. And later, my parents found both my legs were paralyzed. And when it was investigated, they found the injections were not only expiring, but they were wrong injections. It was penicillin. And it's a big story, but cut it short. And then I was admitted to a normal, general, regular school, and obviously the school was really not happy to have me because I used to go in a wheelchair, and the principal was really not happy to have the wheelchair all the time in there, long. And still, there was no option. Some of my dad didn't, and I was there for some time. And luckily, a teacher came from an organization. It's called Association of People with Disability. It's at Rajpur, and the school is Sharathangeli Integrated School. And she educated my parents that the school is specialized to deal with children like me, physically challenged. And my parents thought, let's go and have a check. And when they went, they found that they were really impressed the way they took care of the children, and they were really happy because they were welcomed. And I was admitted there and starting from kindergarten. And less than 2 years. A lady, in fact everyone were responsible, but specifically a lady by name Amla. She was a physiotherapist. She helped me, providing physiotherapy, and with the help of that, and crutches and calipers, which supports my leg to walk. I was able to. She got me out of the wheelchair, and by the time I reached 5th, She made sure I stopped using the crutches. And before I could complete the 7th, because 7th is the last class. So before I could reach the 7th standard, she ensured I stopped using the calipers because, as I said, both my legs were paralyzed. So obviously it was very difficult because I was, I couldn't imagine without the crutches. So I used to fall and all that, but she ensured she took my crutches and she kept somewhere, and I had to walk without them. And then I would just like to ask one of you, could you tell me if I'm wearing a Calvin and if I'm wearing, which leg it is? Okay, you say left. But it's just a guess.
Left.
Okay. Anyone else? Right leg. Okay. Both legs.
Okay.
No calipers. That's good. Alright. I still wear a caliper. If you don't mind talking yourself, we just tell.
Check out his legs.
Check my leg. You just feel my leg if you don't mind and let them know which leg it is.